The 2025 NFL Draft is quickly approaching, and there will be at least one draft simulation per week focused on the Cowboys leading up to the event, with analysis and reflections on the picks. If you're as excited as I am about the 2025 Draft, don't miss today's video. Now, let's discuss the simulated picks that came up in the first round. Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, Shatter Sanders, and Abdul Carter were the first four picks. Will Campbell was selected 5th, Ashton Jenney took the 6th spot, Armand Membu was 7th, and Mason Graham was 8th. T-Mac was picked 9th, Jade Barron 10th, and Tyler Warren 11th, which surprised me a bit. The best players available at this point include Jahad Campbell, Amaria Hampton, and Will Johnson, along with several defensive line prospects such as Jalen Walker, Mike Green, and Mike Williams. All receivers, including Matthew Golden, are still on the board. This is a good time to reconsider trade options in the first round, and the Buccaneers were one of the teams consulted for trade simulations. Considering this possibility, I'm making a trade involving a first and second round pick with Tampa Bay, offering them a 7th round pick to move up and secure the 12th pick. This means I'm dropping between 7 or 8 spots, which is significant. After this trade, Will Johnson, Malik Starks, Jalen Walker, Shamar Stewart, Jahad Campbell, Kenneth Grant, and Mike Green are still on the board. For the Cowboys, Luther Burton is available, and I really appreciate his talent, although the team might have a different perspective. He was invited for a pre-draft visit, as was Hampton. Trade down also appears as a possibility, and Josh Simmons, among other offensive line prospects, has yet to be picked. There's interest in Michael Williams, who is still available, and Matthew Golden could also be considered for the first round. Before we make the final decision, if you had the opportunity to acquire something close to this value, would you consider dropping down in the first round? This drop presents a certain risk in terms of guaranteeing the desired player or not. Regarding Michael Williams, he's available. Matthew Golden is also still on the board for the first round. Before we get to the pick itself, if you could get something similar to this value, would you consider trading down in the first round? This drop was a bit risky in terms of guaranteeing the player you want, but I feel it worked for me. Would you consider this trade down in the first round? Why? Let's go with Matthew Golden, the receiver from Texas. He brings some route running and speed that this Cowboys team currently lacks. They don't have the explosion that Golden Turpin, who is more horizontal, offers. Golden stands about 5 feet 9 inches and weighs 200 pounds, and he ran an impressive 40-yard dash in 4.29 seconds. I'm not sure if he truly has that 4.29 speed. Even if it's 4.39, that's still significantly faster than what the team has, and he brings vertical speed, punt returnability, and excellent body control in the red zone. This justifies his 9 touchdowns, as he didn't gain many yards after the catch, being more of a speedster. I get Calvin Ridley vibes from his route work. Here, you trade down and still get Golden? Seems like a good pick in the first round. Would you consider a Mecca Buck-up? That's acceptable too, or Burden, who is also solid. Now, in the second round, Xavier Watts was selected by the Bears, Darius Alexander by the Saints, and Tyreek Williams, who could have been a pick at 44 if he had fallen that far, filling a clear need at cornerback, at least in terms of depth. Donovan Jackson and Landon Jackson are off the board, which made me realize they were consecutive Jacksons. There's another cornerback available in the second round at pick 44, Trey Amos, who spent 3 years at Louisiana, 1 year at Alabama, and then a year at Mississippi. He has the measurements the Cowboys appreciate, about 6 feet 0 inches and 185 pounds. He hasn't been the most active in terms of interceptions, but he had 3 picks last year. He didn't allow many yards, giving up only 280 yards on 62 targets, which is a bit high. He wasn't beaten deep, maintaining a completion rate below 19% on targets over 20 yards. He stands out as an effective corner in coverage, which is what he does best, and his athletic tests were pretty solid. He was targeted 62 times, giving up only 280 yards, which is a standout number. He wasn't beaten deep, keeping a completion rate below 19% on passes over 20 yards. He shines as a deep coverage corner, which is his specialty, and his athletic tests showed solid results. His shuttle test suggests that he's not a nickel corner, but at 6 feet 0 inches and 205 pounds, With arms measuring 32 inches, he nearly checks all the boxes for the team. I've noticed some movement around the first round, and an interesting comparison can be made to a player who had a standout performance in Atlanta. Other players available in the second round include Savone Revel and Princely Oman Mellon, along with Carson Swessinger, all running back options. Caleb Johnson and Trayvon Henderson are still on the board, and I chose to select a cornerback, thinking I could pick a running back with my other second-round pick. Currently, the analysis is made easier by an app presenting options for sports betting, especially now that the baseball season has started. It's a chance to include favorite players in bets, such as strikeouts, RBIs, or runs in the first inning, choosing more or less to try to multiply the investment. It's an interesting way to connect with sports in over 30 states, including California, Texas, and Georgia. You just make selections based on some player statistics to potentially increase your returns. Besides baseball, the basketball and football seasons are also available. For example, you might bet less on a specific quarterback if his team hasn't performed well offensively without certain players. Another situation involves an aging athlete, and it seems his team isn't as interested in keeping him as they were last year. Although some bets are not to my liking, I'm really satisfied with these 3 picks. Use a code to receive $50 instantly after drafting the first lineup that costs $5. The link will be available in the comment section and the description of today's content. Among the picks I selected between my second choice and the one I have here, I feel that I made good decisions. One player came off the board, which is a shame, but several defenders were selected. If I hadn't taken the cornerback I wanted, I probably wouldn't have gotten him, but I managed to pick Trayvon Henderson in the second round at pick 53 as part of a trade I made in the first round. He's an impactful running back who will contribute significantly to my team, a true playmaker, and also offers good value on third downs. He averaged 7.1 yards per carry this year and stood out throughout the season. I see some of what used to be a standout running back before injuries, and also a player known for his agility. I'm not sure if he can be an every-down running back, but he has the athletic ability to shine whenever he touches the ball. His explosion and lateral agility are impressive, running a 4.43-second 40-yard dash at over 200 pounds, and I think he would be a great pick early in the second round. I have a second-round grade on him. Now, let's move to the third round and some of the picks I made in this simulation model. I used a model more suited for the early rounds, and as you'll see, I'm also familiar with the later rounds. Certain players would be interesting picks. One player came off the board, and it's interesting to see a team selecting another receiver from a particular university, but that's understandable. I'm not sure how realistic this is, but in the third round at pick 76, a player was available for a team that really needs him. He could even be an option if the team decides to trade down in the second round. This player won't be an elite pass rusher, as that's just not part of his game. However, his ability to stop the run is impressive. I think his evaluation is relatively straightforward. He's going to hold up against the run, and given his age and career stage, I doubt he'll become a significantly better pass rusher than he already is, as that's just part of his identity at this point. The ability to disrupt plays is notable, and a clear evaluation has been provided. His ability to stop the run effectively is evident, and at this stage of his career, it seems unlikely that he will transform into a considerably better pass rusher than what's already been observed, as this seems to be his current identity. Although athletic tests raise some questions, his arm length reaches nearly 35 inches. This relates to an athlete with the right size, standing about 6 feet 6 inches and weighing 332 pounds, being the ideal type of player to stop the run. Other names available include an athlete who, if he had been positioned as a receiver, could have been a very attractive pick. There's also an interesting potential in another player, as well as 2 others who show viable options for the team in the third round. Several trades were mentioned earlier, making it relevant to explore this question in more detail. How many trades will occur during this year's NFL draft? Thoughts on this can be left in the comment section. In this scenario, an audacious strategy is adopted, disregarding all third-round picks. The idea is to trade most of the additional selections, especially those further down in the 5th, 6th, and 7th rounds, suggesting that it's necessary to make transactions for better positions. This approach provides the chance to move through an entire round, or even more, to secure another standout player, without worrying about having too many 6th and 7th round picks in a draft class that isn't particularly valued. In the 4th round, with pick 120, I rarely get the chance to pick safeties, as this team selects them infrequently. It's time to secure one, specifically Billy Bowman from Oklahoma. Despite doubts about his tackling skills, he's not known for being effective in this area, but he accumulated 11 interceptions and 4 defensive touchdowns during his career. He can play some nickel roles, having played in that position at college, although his primary role should be as a deep safety. He has the athletic qualities I'm looking for. It's important to note that arm length is not a crucial factor for safeties, which could explain his recurring missed tackles. To be frank, tackling isn't exactly his strong suit. However, I'm looking for a playmaker in the secondary, and he bears similarities to Jordan Whitehead. I believe he will likely fall between the top 100 on my list, reflecting the value I place on him. He was undoubtedly the best safety still available, given that the group at that time was relatively weak. The role of a playmaker in the defense shares some similarities with Jordan Whitehead, and I think he should rank between the top 100 for me. This illustrates the value I see in him, especially because he was by far the best safety available, considering that the safety group wasn't very strong. In the 5th round, with pick 149, Antoine Powell-Ryland is a pick I make with great confidence. To me, he's the biggest sleeper of the 2025 NFL Draft. Honestly, I don't understand why he's not getting more attention. His production is impressive, with 19 tackles for loss and 16 sacks this season, plus 15 tackles for loss and 9.5 sacks last year. He's not a mediocre athlete. He had an exceptional combined performance, with great results in agility, explosiveness, and overall speed tests. One of my concerns is the lack of arm length, which could present a challenge in run defense in the NFL. However, as a situational pass rusher, his athletic comparisons are with Khalil Mack, T.J. Watt, and Brian Arapo based on his tests, although acknowledging there were no agility tests, which makes the comparison a bit unfair. I never thought he was slow, and he had an outstanding performance at the ACC level, being a top 75 player for me. I don't understand why no one is really talking about Antoine Powell-Ryland from Virginia Tech. We will have more draft simulations throughout the season, so it's good to stay updated. Let's make another trade, a move to obtain a more balanced draft pick. I'm not completely satisfied with the options at pick 211, so let's move down a few spots, acquire an extra 7th round pick, and fill 2 positions instead of just 1. This is the 3rd trade in the draft simulation. Dallas visitor Caleb Rogers from Texas Tech played every position on the offensive line except center. It's almost certain he will become a guard, not a tackle, where he spent most of his time in college. Arm length is a real concern for Caleb Rogers, but he brings positional versatility, which is always valuable in the 7th round. He performed well in tests, although he played tackle with less than 32.5-inch arms. He's an option as a guard who can play on either side, adding competition to the current options at the position. During the 7th round, always exciting, one player stood out exceptionally. This athlete's ability to make tackles is remarkable, especially with arms measuring just under 32.5 inches, making him a viable option for guard, where he can play on both sides. Adding this player could increase competition with the current options at the right guard position. With pick 238 in the 7th round, a linebacker from UCLA was selected. Although he's not the biggest athlete, his athletic ability is clear, and he should find a role on special teams. Last season, he had 11 tackles for loss, and the year before, he had 7. Despite concerns about missed tackles, this player has some intriguing traits, standing almost 6 feet 3 inches and weighing over 220 pounds. Adding weight above 220 pounds could be beneficial. His athletic testing results are impressive, and his 32-inch arms meet linebacker preferences. Now, we can evaluate the simulated draft on a scale from A to F, and opinions can be shared in the comment section. To recap the simulated draft, in the 1st round, a trade to move down to the 19th pick still secured a wide receiver from Texas. In the 2nd round, at pick 44, a cornerback from Mississippi was selected. Taking advantage of the extra center pick obtained in the previous trade, a running back from Oklahoma State was picked. This strategy allowed the selection of 3 starters. In the 3rd round, there was luck with the 76th pick when a defensive tackle from Texas was still available. Several extra picks from the 3rd day were combined to move up to the 4th round, where safety was acquired, adding playmaking ability to the secondary and considered one of the most underrated players in the draft. In the 5th round, with pick 149, an edge rusher from Virginia Tech was chosen. Continuing moves in the 7th round, a guard from Texas Tech was brought in to provide more depth to the offensive line, along with a linebacker from UCLA who provides depth on special teams and at linebacker. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Dallas Cowboys. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. In an electrifying twist to the NFL offseason, the Dallas Cowboys have reportedly made a bold move in the market that has sent shockwaves through the league. Their sights are set on none other than Derrick Henry, the king of the running back world. After a dominant 8-year run with the Tennessee Titans, Henry, now a member of the Baltimore Ravens, has once again found himself at the center of trade speculation. The Cowboys, with their storied history and championship aspirations, could be on the brink of securing one of the most fearsome running backs in NFL history, further solidifying their offense. Henry's resume speaks for itself. A record-breaking college career with Alabama and a stellar professional run with the Titans, he's earned 4 Pro Bowl selections, led the NFL in rushing yards multiple times, and even made history by rushing for over 2,000 yards in a single season. But beyond his accolades, it's his physical dominance on the field that makes him such an intriguing target. Known for his bruising running style and rare combination of size and speed, Henry is the kind of player who can transform an offense with a single run. The Cowboys, who have long been in search of a true workhorse back, might just find their answer in King Henry. The Cowboys' interest in Henry adds a layer of complexity to their already impressive roster. With Dak Prescott at quarterback and a powerful offensive line, the addition of a player like Henry could make the Cowboys' offense nearly unstoppable. For Dallas, this move would not only provide the balance their offense craves, but also bolster their Super Bowl aspirations. Henry's ability to dominate games, particularly in crucial situations, would give them an edge in the NFC, where every game is a battle for supremacy. However, the road to acquiring Henry is no easy task. With the Ravens recently securing the star back on a lucrative 2-year deal worth up to $20 million, it would take a significant trade package to pry him away from Baltimore. Yet for a team like the Cowboys, who are consistently in win-now mode, the cost could be justified. Henry's impact on the field is undeniable, and his addition to a team like Dallas could be the final piece of the puzzle they've been searching for. As the NFL offseason unfolds, all eyes will be on the Cowboys' pursuit of Derrick Henry. Could this move be the spark that finally leads Dallas back to the top of the NFL? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain. The potential of Henry in a Cowboys uniform has the football world buzzing with anticipation. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Dallas Cowboys, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.